Always parallel bars the most. It's the most fun to work out on. But the rings is always a very strong event. He pulls right to a cross and pulls out. It's extremely powerful. This forward roll, hollow back press to a handstand. Giant to a handstand. Very, very steady. And whip it to another cross. Look at how he presents himself. Very beautiful, very artistic gymnast. And he's going to set up for his dismount. Giant to a handstand. And a very high pike calf and F out. Beautiful landing. That's going to score well. That could put him right in the lead. And here's a neat angle for his dismount. There's a giant to his handstand. And now he's really got to get a lot of lift. He pulls way above the rings for that pike calf and F out.
He needs a 9.65 to help his team tie for the lead. A 9.7 would give the Soviet Union the lead over Daggett and Kalor.
I'm pretty sure he's going to get it, too.
His teammate, Irena Baraksanova, received a 9.8 for her second vault.
Now,
I took some of the pressure off of him, but I don't think he would have felt it anyway.
I think Alexi's pretty confident about their chances, though. He chose his best event, the horizontal bar, for the very end. I think he wants to finish on a great note.
They're talking now with their translator. Getting some advice as to how this competition works. This is such a unique format that the judges are somewhat baffled by it because this is never done after this or before this. It's the only meet of the year that is conducted in this manner, in which you only do 3 apparatus. The men's and women's scores combined. So it's an unusual situation. The score for Alexei Tikhonki made the team total 19.5, meaning he got a 9.7. So the Soviet Union has the lead. The USA is second, and we'll be back for the first set. The Soviet Union is in first, the USA is in second, but right now the gymnasts from Hungary want to change all that. Andrea Ladanye is about to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Once again, the gymnasts are allowed to choose which apparatus they want to compete on. She chose the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate has chosen the pommel horse. We'll get to him in a moment.
Andrea is another new face in women's gymnastics. The free hip half turn to a handstand. Another turn. Swings up to the handstand on the low bar. Hips through. Free hip circle. Giant to a handstand. Giant. And a comb each dismount. Doing very, very well.
Andrea Ladanye.
I don't know how well that's going to score because in difficulty it's not as high as some of the other routines we've seen today, but it was very, very clean. And here she puts one foot on the bar. This is a comb each dismount, front with a half. And she takes just a little hop.
Georgi Gutsogi is on the pommel horse. Another one who's chosen the pommel horse as his first apparatus.
And he should, because he's one of the best pommel horse workers in the world. A lot of original skills, a lot of Durham, which is scissor sequence, and a flare, travel down flare, loop round up to a handstand. He's always been a medal winner in lots of the major competitions on pommel horse. He's very, very strong. Now here's this flare, travel down, and he's going to set up for his dismount. There's a loop around, and he'll do a flare right up to a handstand. And his flares aren't quite as extended as the flares that you might see in the Chinese gymnasts or that you might see in Alexei Tikhonki on pommel horse, but he still does it quite well.
Andrea Ladanye received a 9.4 on the uneven parallel bars. A perfect 10 for Gutsogi, her teammate, which gives a 19.4, and that's good enough to tie for third at this point in the competition. I don't think he's going to get a perfect 10 on that routine.
I don't think he'll get a 10. I talked to him a little earlier. I think he has a little bit of a cold. He pointed to his nose and was sniffling a little bit. He looked a little tired at the end of the routine also.
So they're just hopeful they can squeak by. They'll have to be in the 19s, though, to make it to the finals. Only 6 will compete, in the second round. That's what they're shooting for the second round. If Busogia should advance, he would like to compete next on the ring. Ladanya would like to compete next on the balance beam. It's nip and tuck right now whether or not these two will make it to that second apparatus. Our leaders, the Soviet Union with 19.5, second place the USA with 19.45, and then China is in third with a 19.4. So our top three spots are very, very close together. After that, a 19.1, there's a tie for fourth place between Japan and Italy. Right now, 19.0 is what's the cutoff for sixth place. 9.35 is the score for the Soviets, so he receives an 18.75 total. They will not make it to the next round. Very close, but not quite good enough. They had to be 19 or better to make it to that next round. When we come back, we will have more competition. We still have another team from the USA, as well as gymnasts from Germany and Romania. Don't go away. We are back with international mixed pairs competition. I'm Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar. The German Democratic Republic is getting ready to compete. The young lady representing the German Democratic Republic is Simone Harperat. She's going to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate, Ulf Hoffman, will compete on floor exercise. Simone is 15 years old, and she attends Oberschule in Rostock.
Bars has always been a very strong event for the East Germans. I haven't seen Simone very much at all. And she goes right to a handstand. Beautiful reverse hack. She's very powerful.
So she's only 15. That might explain why you haven't seen much of her. She's young.
Scoop through. Tip to a handstand. Giant. And they lay out full twist this time.
Nice routine by Simone Harperat. Whether or not it's good enough to get them into the finals waits to be seen.
Now here's her giant getting up ready for her dismount, and she does a layout with a full twist. It's not quite as difficult as some of the other ones I've seen. Girls are doing double backs. They're doing layouts with double twists.
And began gymnastics in 1971.
Ulf Hoffman is 24 years old. He attends Deutsche Hochschule for Körperschule, and he's studying sports, so I assume he wants to coach or teach.
Off now with a very difficult pass. The 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 dive roll. It's very, very risky. Now a second pass. Run off back casting, whip over, back handspring, full punch run. Very, very nice. He's a very powerful gymnast. And here's his flares, a spindled flare, rotating the other way as he does it. And now the required press to a handstand. Very unusual and weak pass right there with a tuck dive roll. I guess he's resting up for his dismount. Kind of an awkward scale there. He has a little bobble. That's going to cost him.
Scale is mandatory. You must show him.
Yeah, balance trick, yes. And here's his dismount, and it's double back flip, a little hot. Looks a little bit tired at the end of that routine. Now we'll take a look at his mount. It's a 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 dive roll. It's a lot of flips and a lot of twists.
It must be very difficult to stay oriented in a move like this.
It is. I used to compete this trick, and it can be. I had a friend of mine that's been hurt on this trick, too. It's very risky because he rolls out of it very close to his head, but he does it so well that he really doesn't have to worry about it. I thought he was a little bit tired in going into the dismount. He doesn't get quite the same lift. He takes a little bit of a hop forward. He lands it and takes a little stumble forward. Looked a little bit tired at the end of that routine.
Better roundup, better running would have improved that dismount then, possibly?
I think so. I think it's the end of a long trip. I think they've been away from home for a while. They're a little bit tired after the American Cup, and I think he wanted to just make it through the routine, and he did it quite well.
The total for this group is 19.15, and right now that is good enough for 6th place. So Simone Harperat and Ulf Hoffman have made it into the finals based on that total so far, but we've yet to see the gymnasts from Romania, and we still have another pair from the USA who are expected to also make it into the finals. We are moving now back to the uneven parallel bars where Mariana Tudor of Romania is about to compete. She is 16 years of age and began the sport at age 11.
And she's a little gymnast, but look at how she swings in even bars. Wow. Front flip down the low bar, tips up, right to a handstand. Straddle up, tip, and another del chest trick. Here she goes. Tip, straddle up, and she's going to set up. This is a long routine. Toe on, front flip. It's a little bit of a weak dismount, and it's difficult to land one like that also. She took a big step on it.
But she had a lot of difficulty in the middle.
A lot of difficulty in the middle. I was surprised at the dismount, though. It really was not that hard of a dismount. She does just a toe-on tucked front flip, and she doesn't even land it that well.
Do you think maybe that was an alternate dismount?
It could have been. She could have had a more difficult dismount planned. She may have been tired. She may have slipped a little bit and just decided to do that one.
Valentin Quincia is competing as her teammate, also from Romania. He is coached by Vasil Casario.
Quincia is very powerful on the floor. Gets a lot of lift. It's very high full position double back flip. A little hop in the landing is going to cost him a little bit, but he gets way up there. Second pass is a Arabian double front. He went out of bounds. That's going to cost him some more. Very, very high. This routine isn't quite as clean as it could be. He's got plenty of difficulty, though. Hasn't really stopped tumbling yet. Now he can do some work on the floor. I'm sure he's huffing and puffing a little bit right now. It's required presto handstand. Done a little bit too quickly. He didn't really hold the handstand. There's a scale. Still rested up for that dismount. And a round off against double back flip. Little hop, but it's still very, very high. Now on his second pass on an Arabian double front, he went out of bounds, and that is a deduction.
It isn't as major as people like to make out. It's only a tenth or two, depending on the element that you're performing at the time.
So here's
not like a fall.
Yeah, it is. It's a minor deduction compared to falling off the apparatus.
But still, it's an obvious deduction when you don't like to give up.
Now here's his dismount. The round off against me, double back flip, probably the most common dismount in floor exercise. Plenty of lift, and just takes a little hop.
Looks like he had it too, I think maybe if this is the Olympic Games and he's going for a gold medal, he might have forced a stick on that one.
Very, very powerful.
And they received a 9.7 for the uneven parallel bars, a 9.3 for the floor exercise, for a perfect score of 19.00, perfectly even score, I should say. And that will not be good enough to get into the second round. So say so long to the team from Romania. When we come back, the USA has a and they're good. These are our standings at the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs as we get ready for our final few gymnasts in round one. You can see the Soviet Union is on top, followed by the USA. Earlier, we spoke with Bella Caroli. He is coaching Christy Phillips. We asked him about her attitude, her talent, her specialness, but most importantly, how she deals with all of the pressure. He told us this earlier.
That basically is up the kids' mental and physical abilities, a combination from these two very important parts of their personality. Now, how she is. She's a balanced type of little girl. Everything she's processing, she's going through her mental digestion, everything, the indications. She's positive, receiving with great enthusiasm everything what is told to her, indications, instructions, directions, what we are showing. She's trying to do her best.
Bella Caroli coaching Christy Phillips.
There's a round off on. Zook fall off. Just one little step. She's really come into her own.
Another one. Let's together more and pressing down. No step whatsoever, okay? Now you go normal, slow down, and with more explosiveness. More responsive forward. And if you press your toes down. No move. Let's go.
As you can tell, we have put a microphone on Bella Caroli to give advice to Christy Phillips.
Bella is a great motivator. You watch, she's going to do a better vault in that second one. When she does that round off on, a Sukahara with a full twist off. And she takes that step.
Now, during the second vault, we will be eavesdropping on Bella Caroli should he say something. She received a 9-7 for the first vault. Her teammate is Brian Ginsberg. He will be competing on the rings after this vault.
That's us.
Bella Caroli, count.
Hey, I was a good one. All right. Good little book. All right. Those are pretty good. Now let's now get up.
I don't understand what he said, but it sure was enthusiastic. Earlier, we spoke with Brian Ginsberg. We asked him how he felt about the American Cup. Remember, going into the last event, he was first. But then Alexei Tihonki was close behind and eventually overtook him for the lead. He told us this earlier today.
I knew before going into high bar that I was in the lead, and I knew I needed to hit a good set because one of the Soviet's best events is high bar. And I was a little nervous, and going towards the end of my set, I was very tired. So on my dismount, I put my hands down, and I knew that all the Soviet needed to do was hit his set, and I knew he was capable of it. And after his routine, he stuck his triple dismount, for the second day in a row, and I knew that it was an incredible routine, and he deserved the score he got.
Brian Ginsberg needs now to stay alive in this competition. He needs a 9.35 to squeak into this competition. That'll tie him for 5th place, and that'll be good enough to get him into the finals. His teammate received a 9.75. Christy Phillips did for her second vault. So 9.35 is the minimum Brian Ginsberg can receive.
Brian's certainly capable of a 9.35. He goes right to an iron cross, pulls right out. He's so powerful. He's so lightweight. There's a beautiful flange. And he presses up. Filled all of his strength requirements right now.
5'2", 105 pounds. He is light.
Very light. Giant doing handstands. Backup rise doing handstands. Nice and steady. He's really improved over the last year. Giant dislocate, and he straddled. That's a straddle side flip with a 3/4 twisting side flip out. An incredible dismount. It's very, very new. Only been done for a few months now.
Difficult to say, more difficult to execute.
Yes. And here it is. Sitting here for that dismount. It's like a pike straddle double side flip with a 3/4 twist out, and he lands with a little bit of a hop in the step. But I still think that'll be good enough to get them into the next round.
Do the judges take that in consideration, the difficulty of the dismount when you take that step, or is that step just a penalty across the board?
Well, no, I really think they do. They have to take into consideration the difficulty of the dismount. In the past, sometimes they haven't, and you found that the gymnasts started watering down their dismounts. I know I did in the Olympics because I didn't get the credit that I wanted to get for doing a difficult skill. But now the judges realize they've got to give that credit for doing a difficult dismount, and I'm sure he'll get a good score.
He is paired with Christy Phillips. She received a 9.75 for her second vault, so that is the score that will be added to his ring score. Once they flash it, we'll let you know. Their total is 19.45, meaning he received a 9.7, and a 19.45 ties them for second, ironically, with fellow Americans Tim Daggett and Tracy Kalor. So it's the Soviet Union first, the USA tied for second. We have two pairs advancing to round 2. Welcome back to the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. Our first round has been completed, and as you can see, the Soviet Union holds down the first place. The United States has tied for second. Tracy Kalor and Tim Daggett are tied with Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg. China is in 4th, Germany is in 5th, and Italy holds down the 6th position. We did not get a chance to see the Italian team compete, but we will show you that right now. This young lady is going to vault for you, Patrizia Lucconi.
And she does a round-off on, a full twisting round-off on with a Sukahara off. It's a very difficult vault. I've never seen it before. She's probably one of the only gymnasts in the world that does it.
Interesting leotard that she's wearing with the sequence of the glitter.
Very shiny. We'll take another look at this. She actually does a round-off onto the board, and then before she hits the horse, she does a full twist, and then does a Sukahara off. A full twist on, and then a tuck Sukahara off. She lands perfectly. And that's what helped put them into this round.
And she received a 9.65 for that vault. We will be back with round 2, but first these messages from sponsors. Welcome back to the second round of competition. Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar. 6 teams, as we have mentioned, have advanced, and you are looking at the first half of the team from China. This is Zhang Yingzhu. She is competing, obviously, on the uneven parallel bars. They are ranked 4th overall. This order of competition now is drawn from a hat. So even though they are in 4th, they are going 1st in the 2nd round.
And this is traditionally a very strong event for the Chinese. Oh, and she missed that front flip.
And in a competition like this,
that will knock them right out.
That's
There's
a fatal
no
flaw.
way. And she's a little bit stuck. I think she's really lost her composure here. She's had to really cover up in this routine. Chances are now she's just going to set up for a dismount. With a giant and a double backflip. That's going to cost them. And I doubt they're going to make it back.
That has to be very difficult when you end up facing the wrong direction and you have to create while you're up there.
It seemed to me like she held on a little bit too long on that skill. She crosses over. She holds on a little bit too long on the bars, and she's already right into them. And there's just no way that she can stay on. She caught the bar with her wrist, and so that bounced her hands right off, and she never even had a chance to grab the bar.
Moving over to the rings, her demoralized teammate now, Wang Songxiang, is going to do the best he can, but he knows that it's over for them.
Nonetheless, I'm sure he still wants to do a great routine. And he's very, very strong with the backup rise to an inverted cross. And a whip it to an iron cross. Kip to an L. And now he'll press up to a handstand, do a series of swinging movements to a handstand. The giant. With a little bit of a swing. Backup rise to a handstand, and he gets ready for his dismount. Giant dislocate, double layout.
Wang Songxiang dismounting from the rings. His teammate, Zhang Yingzhu, received an 8.85 on her uneven parallel bar routine.
Now we see his dismount. There's a giant dislocate. There's a beautiful double layout with just a minor hop at the very end. Gets a lot of lift, very stretched body. But they're going to be out of the competition.
And her face tells the entire story.
She's not pleased with that routine. I'm sure she's going to go back home and do a lot more of them and do them right.
Managing a smile, though. Somebody's trying to cheer her up. Her teammate is.
They've got to be some of the friendliest athletes in the world.
So the team from China, disappointing in the 2nd round, had a great first round, had a great future in front of them, but one slip on the uneven parallel bars ended that. They had a 19.4. All the scores are carried over from the first round. It's a cumulative total. Now, if everybody in the competition from here on out falls off the apparatus, this team is very much alive.
That's right.
And I somehow feel that's not going to happen. Only 3 from this round will compete in the final round. There's their total, 37.84. Of course, that puts them in first place by virtue of the fact that they've gone first, but that won't last for long. Our next competitor is a young lady from Italy that we just saw moments ago vaulting. Patrizia Lucconi is going to compete. She chose for her 2nd apparatus the uneven parallel bars.
18.45. We continue on now with pair number 12 from Italy. On uneven bar.
You mentioned the fact about her attire and that it is mostly synthetic fabric, and you think that might be a detriment in performing.
Well, apparently, the shinier the leotard, that means the more synthetic the fabric, and so it doesn't breathe quite as well as if it would have a cotton fiber in it. And they can really sweat in those leotards. They're very attractive, but they're not necessarily the most comfortable ones to wear. And there she gets ready for her uneven bar routine. Half turn, kip up to a handstand. A reverse hex. Kip. Very powerful. That was a little bit weak as she went over there. That's a little bit of a cover-up. Now she's going to have to make up something. This is going to cost them.
The extra swing is 5 tenths right there.
Yeah, and she's making some more extra swings. I think she's kind of lost her composure.
And it's funny because half the folks at home see nothing wrong with this routine.
Right. That's right. Well, she doesn't break her form, but she just missed a couple tricks. There's a double back flip. Landed well. And her teammate's going to have to perform very, very well to keep them in this competition. Now, I think the mistake really came kind of towards the beginning. She did a very nice Tkachev, which is the reverse heck, and we see that coming up right here. She swings down and does a reverse heck back over the bar, but then here she does a kip, and if she goes up to a handstand, she doesn't quite make it to the handstand. She goes over the handstand, then she has to do the turn, and she doesn't have enough swing to finish the next skill.
So you think she wanted to end up facing the other way, and that caused the trouble. Her teammate, Paolo Bucci, has elected to compete on the high bar.
I am very impressed with the young Italian men gymnasts. They have a great junior program, and he's a product of it. They're very, very good on the horizontal bar. There's a Ginger, the flyaway with a half turn.
Her coach, his coach stepped in there. Is that?
Well, if you touched him, technically it should be a dismount. It's nice to have that security. There's a beautiful full turn into an inverted giant. This routine is somewhat of a stock routine. I haven't seen a lot of difficulty in it. Sets up with a double back dismount, though. Very, very hard to do. It's done quite well. I say the routine was somewhat stock, but the dismount was very difficult, and that's probably where he gets those extra superiority credit. And here's this full pirouette into an inverted giant, right up and over the top. This is a great angle to see it. Look how he places his hand. Almost looks like he didn't make it. Very, very nice. That's a scary trick to do. Now here's his dismount. He does a double twisting, double backflip, and he lands perfectly. Really, really done nicely. Notice how he got that twist right off the bar because he has to twist so much before he hits the ground.
Paolo Bucci. His teammate received a 9-2 for her uneven parallel bar routine. If he receives a 9.55 or better, he will overtake first place, but that's kind of a moot point since China also had a bad performance on their uneven parallel bar set. Paolo's trying to control his teammate as we move down to the floor exercise. This is the German Democratic Republic, and this is Simone Hopperoth.
Simone mounts with a ground off back handspring double back flip. It's not one of the most difficult mounts, but they really use some powerful music now in these floor exercise routines. They round off punch straddle, punch front. There's a little Star Wars music there. Now she goes into her next tumbling pass. They round off, back handspring, full twist, back handspring, double fall. That's a lot of flips in just that short space to tumble on. People don't realize how important some of these turns are that the girls do. When they do a lot of these pirouettes, it's so important that they stay off their heels, they stay on their toe, and that's an important part the judges are really looking for. And although some of these skills don't look so hard, a lot of people are just looking for the tumbling passes. Those are just as difficult as well. Dismounts with another double back, and she stepped down. A little bit of a cover-up, but
He didn't fool you.
yeah, didn't fool me. I don't think she'll fool the judges either.
Simone Hopperoth. Now, taking a seat after a tumbling pass, is that like a fall?
Oh, it is like a fall. I don't know if it's a full 5/10 of a deduction dismount. I think she planned to use that skill and fall down to her seat a little bit more gracefully, but here I think you can see that it was a mistake.
Too much power? Or?
Well, no. She tucked her knees in. She was a little bit tired, and she wanted to get those feet under for the landing, and she just fell right back down. Cute cover-up.
Simone Hopperoth. She and her teammate are fifth as we look at Ulf Hoffman, who's already begun his parallel bar routine.
That's a very powerful gymnast. Mana, he swings up to a beautiful routine. He's doing a lot of very difficult skills. Healy twirl to a front flip, another Healy twirl. Steps to a handstand. And a double back dismount. A little hop and a step. That's going to cost him a bit. These routines don't seem to be as crisp as the first round, so we're really gonna separate the best teams right here.
It sounds like your advice has been followed, and that everybody put their strongest event first, and now we're seeing the fall in the caliber.
And they look a little bit tired. And here's he sits, setting up for his double back dismount. It was a good dismount, and it was almost secure in the landing, but he just had to take that little hop forward, and that's just a deduction that he really doesn't need right now.
Simone Hopperat received a 9.6 for her floor exercise routine, and that has been the best female performer in the second round by 4/10. So that takes some of the pressure off of Ulf Hoffman. So far, the best male score in the second round has been 9.6 by China's Wang Chongshang. So the German Democratic Republic is certainly in a strong position to move up to 4th place. Currently, they are in 5th place, I'm sorry. He received a 9.6 for his routine.
Very good. Now we have to realize that only one American team is allowed to advance to that final round. And so they look pretty secure in moving on.
All right, after 3 performers, first place right now belongs to the German Democratic Republic. But remember, the top 3 performers have not yet competed yet. So the German Democratic Republic is first in this second round. In second place is China, and in third place is Italy. Their total 38.35 for the German Democratic Republic. China with a 37.8. And we will be back with our top 3 seeds of this second round, the USA and the USSR, after these messages. We are back, and the best of the second round is about to compete. The USA and the USSR are about to go head-to-head with only the top 3 advancing to the final round. The Soviet Union will go first. Irina Baraksanova is going to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate, Alexei Tikhonov, is going to compete on the parallel bars. Irina is up first. The USA, as you had mentioned, Peter, is going to compete in the second round with 2 teams, the Christy Phillips-Brian Ginsburg tandem, along with the Tracy Glory-Tim Daggett tandem. But only one, as you mentioned, can go to the third and final round. So that means the German Democratic Republic, by virtue of that rule, will advance to the final round.
Yes, they did want to make this rule where they want to give some Americans a chance to compete in this meet. It's their home country and their home court. Yet they do want to make it fair and try to keep the international flavor of the event and make sure that only one American team can advance to that final round.
This is Alexei Tikhonov. He is chalking up the rails, preparing them for his routine, while he waits for his compatriot, Irina Baraksanova, to begin her mount on the uneven parallel bars.
Boy, Alexei is great on the parallel bars.
Irina better be good on the uneven.
That's right. Beautiful free hip hop to a handstand and a straddle front flip, drop down to the low bar, stalled her half turn, up to the high bar. She had a little problem, I thought, at the very beginning of that routine. Giant, and a double pike dismount. Very, very difficult. She took a little step, but that's a very difficult dismount to land.
And the uneven parallel bars has been the Waterloo for most of the women in this second round, but not so for Irina Baraksanova.
I wonder if with these American parallel bars, they're a little bit different, and I wonder if they're having some problems with their grip. She's getting set up for this giant into a double pike dismount, and she does it quite well. Legs straight, and she takes that little step.
And now we are over at the parallel bars where Alexei Tikhonov is getting ready to compete. These are our leaders after the first round by 0.05 of a point. Alexei and Irina.
And boy, can he swing on the parallel bars. He has a very long routine, too. Calf, front toss, hop pirouette to handstand, stiff to a handstand, giant swing to a handstand, and yambied off. Every trick in the book. Another step, pirouette, and now watch it. 2 back tosses in a row, setting up for that dismount. And he does a beautiful double pike. Little hop. What a routine.
Crowd appreciates that one. Irina Baraksanova received a 9.7 for her uneven parallel bar routine as we take another look at Alexei's parallel bar routine.
Okay, now he does a pirouette. He's going to do 2 back tosses in a row. They're basically back layouts right to a handstand. He does another one right to a handstand. Then he does a double pike. He does a very high one. It's difficult to get lift off the bars. Takes a little hop.
They better check his hand for liquid nails. That guy's up there.
And he is incredible. Very powerful gymnast. I've seen him for many years.
As he moves over to the official position to receive the double score for himself and Irina Baraksanova. Remember, she received a 9.7. That is the best female score so far in the second round, with Simone Hopperat receiving a 9.6 for her floor exercise routine.
It looks like it's going to be tight down to those last routines.
He received a 9.7, meaning the total for the Soviet Union tandem is 38.90. Handily, they are in first place, but we have two teams from the USA yet to compete. And when we come back from this commercial message, we will see the USA, but please don't go away. We are back. You are looking at Christy Phillips. We asked her earlier her thoughts about her recent victories in gymnastics, and what comes to mind is the victory at the American Cup that happened not too long ago in this young lady's past.
Well, me winning the American Cup is putting a lot more pressure on how I did tonight. So I just hope I can keep on and do as good as I did then, maybe even better if I can.
I want to go back to the American Cup for one more thought. How was this week in your life different since you won the American Cup than, let's say, if you hadn't won the American Cup?
My life is different because every time the phone rang, it was a reporter, wanted to ask me questions, and never had so much publicity before in my life.
This is Bella Caroli. He coached Nadia Comaneci to an Olympic gold medal. He coached Mary Lou Retton to an Olympic gold medal. And by all indications, he's on his way to coaching this young lady, hopefully to an Olympic gold medal. You can hear him in the background. We'll eavesdrop as he comments. Christy Phillips on floor exercise.
All eyes are on Christy for this routine.
Go. Easy.
Out of bounds.
That's a deduction. That's going to hurt a little bit.
All right.
There's a lot of pressure on Brian.
Dance that.
If you hear grunting and yelling in the background, that is Coach Bella Caroli.
Right. Dance that with speed. Hold it. Oh, good. Go!
Bella's yelling almost as if he can make her do those skills just by grunting and groaning.
I think he does.
Boy, is she a bundle of energy.
Aye.
And I think if we were to score his face, he'd get the numbers.
Oh, that's smooth. And...
The crowd loves it. Bella Caroli is pleased.
That little tumbling pass that Christy is a new pass for, and I think Bella really wants her to get some experience using it in some major competition. She normally used to do just a round-off back handspring double back, but instead she's been doing a round-off back handspring flip-over back handspring double back, so it's been very, very difficult.
She has cute dance elements, too. Christy Phillips, 13 years of age. Now you're watching Bella Caroli on tape replays. He's watching his gymnast tumble. And he's tumbling right along with her.
Some people don't realize how hard on the coach it is. It's really difficult for the coach to go through those routines when he has no control over the competition.
All right, her teammate is Brian Ginsberg, and Brian has elected to vault for his second round. In men's competition, you are allowed to execute just one vault.
Now, we saw Brian's ring dismount with basically a double straddle side flip with a three-quarter twist out. He's going to do a similar vault. It's going to be a straddle side super hard with a three-quarter twist out.
Christy Phillips received a 9.7 for her floor exercise routine. That's identical to Barack Sanova's uneven parallel bar score. So the pressure's on Brian to get a 9.7 or better.
He can do it on this vault. It's a new vault for him. Very, very good. What a beautiful vault.
9.8 would give them the lead. 9.75 would give them a tie with the USSR.
It's so exciting to see new things done like this. The Chinese started doing this at the World Championships about 4 months ago. Now we'll take a look at it again. There it is. It's a straddle side Sukahara with a three-quarter twist out. And he really does it well. He gets so high and he's so light. He just looks like a feather up there. He lands so easily. Had a minor hop at the end, though.
Is it an advantage on vaulting to be shorter? You know, he's 5'2", some of the gymnasts
No,
are 5'7",
I'm
5'8".
It can be. It can be an advantage, but really it's the power that's involved. And Brian has that quick, explosive power.
That was a pretty good one, this one.
Fella liked it. He received a 9.6 for that vault. We'll update you on the scores, and when we come back, Tracy Keller and Tim Daggett. Welcome back. Our final competitors in the second round are about to begin. Tracy Keller on the uneven parallel bars, Tim Daggett on the high bar. Tracy Keller and Tim Daggett are currently in second place, tied with Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg. But only one USA team can advance. They need to do better than 38.75 if they want to go into the finals.
So in this case, it's really USA versus USA.
Right.
Tracy's very powerful here. She does 2 stalters in a row. Super screw. Kip to a handstand. Another stalter. Giant. And a double pike dismount, the same as Barcanova. He stuck that dismount, though. There's no deduction for that landing. That was beautiful. Very difficult routine.
Baraksanova received a 9.7 for her routine on the unevens.
Here's the giant and a double pike. Look at that landing. Nice and solid. Beautiful dismount.
Ironically, Christy Phillips received a 9.7 for her Florex routine. So the women in the second round are doing very well in the USA and the USSR. Tim Daggett, obviously, on the parallel bars, is chalking them up. Let's talk a little bit about the hand grips that you would wear on the parallel bars. None at all, as opposed to the high bar where you have the dowel.
That's right. Some gymnasts still like to use some leather hand guards on the parallel bars, but in Tim's case, and in the case of most gymnasts, they like to go just with their bare hands. We do a little bit of we have a formula we put water and a little bit of sugar in the water to make it nice and sticky on the bars, actually. Because sometimes you can really slip on the parallel bars.
Sugar or sweet milk?
No, only sugar. We made a mistake using the diet soda milk. It didn't work. There's a nice giant straddle cut. Back up right straddle cut, something else for Tim. And he presses through a handstand. This is a very good event for Tim. He's always been very steady on this. Back toss to a handstand. Another back toss, same as Sikoki. Front upright, hop pirouette. Sits to a handstand. Now he's getting ready for his dismount. Double back. A little bit of a hop. Boy, this is going to be close.
Not terribly close. Tracy Keller received a 9.55 for her uneven parallel bar routine. Tim Daggett's going to need just about a 10 to stay alive.
He will need a good score. It's a very good routine. Here's Tim's double back dismount. He opens up just a little bit too late, so he had to take that hop back. So that's a deduction. Usually Tim sticks those double backs. He works hard on those landings.
He'll need a 9.75 to tie Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg for second place. He'll need a 9.8 to overtake them.
Now, Tim is limping over there. He did hurt his ankle, as we know, in the American Cup, and it's been bothering him. And landing that dismount really is not a lot of fun when your ankle's throbbing. So that's probably why Tim was a little bit cautious and took that hop at the end of his routine.
And he received a 9.7, and that means that Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg, according to my math, will be the USA pair to advance. Tracy Keller and Tim Daggett, not quite good enough to get into the third and final round due to the USA only being allowed to have one team in the final. Certainly their numbers are all right with the 1925, but they will not go into the third round by virtue of one country allowed only. There you see the people who will go into round 3, the USSR, the USA, and East Germany. Will be back with the third round in a moment. Welcome back to the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. I'm Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar, and after round 2, these are the standings. The Soviet Union is in first place, 38.90. The USA is in second place, 38.75. And the German Democratic Republic is in third with a 38.35. So it's 0.15 difference between first and second, 0.4 difference between second and third. Very close. Anything could happen in this third round. And in this third round, our order of go, ironically by the draw from a hat, will show third place going first, second place going second, first place going last. The German Democratic Republic team of Simone Harperath and Ulf Hoffman, they have elected to do balance beam for Simone, high bar for Ulf Hoffman. And I think that's interesting that the women have chosen to do balance beam. Christy Phillips, you're looking at her here. She also has elected to do balance beam in the third round. And that's the nerve-wracking event, I think, for women.
It's kind of like the men choosing to do pommel horse in an event when they don't have to choose it. However, we're talking about gymnasts that are so prepared, they're so well-trained, that it doesn't really matter what event they do. They're going to do fine, whether it's the balancing or the vault or the uneven bars or the floor exercise. And I think Christy figured that it was a very good event for it. And if you watch, that was one of her really strong events at the American Cup. And she does some very innovative skills on it, and I think she wants to show them off to the crowd and end with a bang.
Yeah, she does have a back-breaking flexibility move that just makes you squirm at home.
It is incredible.
We'll show it to you. I don't know if she's going to warm up with it. Irina Baraksanova from the Soviet Union, her final event is going to be on floor exercise, and that's always dramatic. There you see some of Christy Phillips' back flexibility, but that still isn't the move we call the Phillips.
Yes, now remind you, this is just her warm-up still. They're still getting ready for the competition. The event for the Soviet, Baraksanova, is very good for her. She's very powerful on floor exercise. And the Soviets are phenomenal at dance. They're just beautiful dancers, every one of them. They're so well-trained in ballet.
You were looking at Bella Caroli as he coaches Christy Phillips. Bella Caroli defected to the United States from Romania after his success with Nadia Comaneci. If you look at Irina Baraksanova, her teammate, Alexei Tikhonki, is going to compete on the high bar. In fact, all of the men have elected to end with the high bar.
High bar is probably the most exciting event in men's gymnastics, and it is a little bit risky, but I think that they know that if they really nail their routines, that they can win the competition. And you really can't play it safe in a competition like this. You have to go all out, because those routines that win are going to be the 9-7s, the 9-8s, and the 9-9s. And so they can't afford to make mistakes.
Irina Baraksanova.
This concludes the warm-up period.
Competing for the Soviet Union, Simone Harperath competing for the German Democratic Republic, Christy Phillips competing for the USA. Those are the women.
Final round, free pair. German Democratic Republic.
And the gymnasts have been told to clear the floor area. We are ready now for the balance beam competition, and Simone Harperath.
A performance on balance beam by the German Democratic Republic, Simone Harperath.
She's 15 years old. She is coached by Volker Harsch.
It's amazing. You look at a country like East Germany, there's only 17 million people in that country, and they do so well in every aspect of international athletics, and gymnastics is no exception. She had a fall there on her mount. That's really going to cost them. There's no way they can win the title now unless the other gymnasts really make big mistakes, and we just don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. On the balance beam, we may see more falls.
That's true.
I think this shot probably personifies the narrowness of that beam better than you and I could ever describe it.
Every time we see a routine, we always have to reiterate that that beam is only 4 inches wide. And some of those skills that they do, I don't even want to do on the ground.
That's the width of the palm of your hand.
It is. And it's just incredible that they can do some of these skills, or that they can even try them. Can you imagine going for it the first time, wondering if you can make it? Boy.
And they're 4 feet off the ground.
That's right.
And that beam is very hard. It is not padded, although it is covered with a leather material to aid in sticking. It's not at all padded. When you hit the beam on the way down, you know it.
It's hard. Now, Simone is having a few little bobbles here, and I think that that mistake really kind of threw her off. She knows that it's going to be very difficult to win this competition now, but she does want to finish strong. 2 leaps in a row, 3 leaps.
And these are required elements. They're not leaping just to take a break. They must show leaps with amplitude.
And they're not that easy to do either. Some of them are very, very difficult. I think everybody looks for the flips, thinking they're the most difficult skills, but not necessarily. This one's with a double back flip. Very good landing, but that fall is going to cost her at least 5/10 of a point.
Simone Harperath of the German Democratic Republic.
Now, she has to place her hands on that 4-inch balancing blindly like that. She looked like she was on fine, and then all of a sudden, she just lost her balance and came off.
She wasn't tight on the stand-out. It looks like she had it. You're right.
She's a little bit loose. Now, here's her dismount. This is a great angle. Look at that dismount. She's realizing that she's got to punch that 4-inch wide beam and do a double back flip.
And not hit her head. Ooh, that's close. And she is dismounted from the balance beam, and we will move over to the horizontal bar where Ulf Hoffman is getting ready to do his set. He's 24 years old. He is studying sport in college in Germany. He wants to coach or teach. Peter Hoffman is his coach.
Olsen's been around for a while in men's gymnastics, and he's a very powerful performer. Really exciting to watch. High bar is one of his best events, and he does a lot of really neat skills. Free hip circle. Right away into a delta. Really high above the bar. Look at that. One-arm giant sequence. And a really high front flip. He's getting a lot of amplitude. With a stoop to his inverted giant. Now he didn't do a complete giant. That technically should be a deduction. Oh, it's a triple back over the bar. He put his elbows down, so it's going to be a deduction. But boy, is that a crazy dismount. That is so difficult.
What kind of velocity are we talking about when you're whipping around the bars?
Oh, it's really hard to say, but sometimes gymnasts can peel off, actually, while they're winding up for a dismount. But here's a triple backflip over the other side of the bar.
Wow.
He doesn't quite get around enough, and his elbows did touch the mat. You really couldn't see it there, but it's going to be a deduction.
So
Here's another angle. 1, 2, 3 flips, and he just gets those knees and those elbows down the ground, so it's going to be a bit of a deduction.
The fear factor in that, he could have hit his head on the high bar. He could have peeled away, as you said. And when you peel away off the horizontal bar, you can fly across the room.
Well, you sure can, but you can tell he's done a lot of practice, and he's really prepared to do that skill. But he just may have been a little bit too tired at the end of that routine.
All right, Simone Hopperoth received a 9.05. Ulf Hoffman received a 9.5. Their total is 18.55 for that apparatus. As we move now to the USA's Christy Phillips.
Looks like it's going to be a battle between the USA and the USSR here for this last event.
Bella Caroli actually coached you indirectly when you competed with Mary Lou in this very event, the mixed pairs.
That's right.
You were paired with her, and he was giving you some advice, wasn't he?
In the 84 mixed pairs competition right before the Olympics, my coach had to go back home. And so I didn't have a coach, and Bella started coaching me. And boy, you could tell he's very competitive, because he started trying to tell me the right things and making sure that I didn't make a mistake.
Good.
We can hear Bella coaching her. Look at the flexibility, though, on Christy's back. We're going to see some more of that later on in the routine.
Maybe we should warn our viewers, if you have a weak stomach, this move that she does is
Or if you have a
incredible.
weak back. Oh, she's knocked the beam. Oh, that's going to cost them. You never know, though. The Soviets could make a mistake also. She gets right back up there, and look at, she's really kept her composure. And that's so important. It shows she's a very, very tough competitor. Except for another tumbling pass. Layout back roll. Sometimes it's so difficult when you make a mistake in a routine, you get so demoralized and you think, now I can't get a 10 or I can't get that high score. And yet you've got to stay tough. And look at this. Look at the flexibility.
Watch her flex out of it. Oh, my back.
Oh,
That's better than a 90-degree angle.
oh, it's unbelievable.
Finish. All right.
I admire the way she's finishing. She's not hesitating. She really looks like she's got her composure.
Please.
Set up for that dismount.
Please.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a side step. I thought she was going to go for the dismount.
That's very difficult on the balancing to
It
do
is.
side tumbling.
It is very difficult. It's so
Fine.
blind. You cannot
Fine.
see where the beam is. There's a layout double twist.
Strong finish. Unfortunately, she had to fall, but Simone Hopperoth fell off the
You
balance.
just were too hyper at the beginning. Too hyper. Just normal, easy. All right.
Now we'll see where she made that little mistake. There's a round off, back layout, step out, and she's a little bit off to the right there. Thought she's going to have it. Oh, she just fell off, though. Boy, was she fighting.
Competition, of course, marks the end of 2 weeks.
All right, these are for the folks that have the weak stomach. Seeing that Christy Phillips move, the move they've named after her, is so hard on your back.
It hurts me because I've got a weak back, so, ooh, I don't see how she can do it.
Remember, Hopperoth received a 9.05. Bruce Hoffman received a 9.5. Their combined total is 56.9. So although Christy fell, she did have a strong finish and quite possibly could score better than the 9.05 that Hopperoth received. Brian Ginsberg is her teammate. He is getting ready to compete on the horizontal bar.
Christy's obviously disappointed with that routine. She knew she could have hit that routine. She made little mistakes. She's going to go back and work on those routines again. But she's really established herself in USA Gymnastics now, and I don't think that's going to really let her get herself down. Brian gets ready now on the horizontal bar. It's a very good event for him. He does some interesting skills.
He's being helped up there by his coach, Yefim Furman. He's from the Soviet Union, defected to this country years ago.
The team is one of the top coaches now in this country. And here's a one-arm giant sequence done quite well. That's a new skill for Brian. I was talking to his coach earlier about it. And here's a one-arm Ganger. Brian's having a very good routine right now. Now he's going to set up for a really difficult skill. It's a full twisting laid-out front flip. Beautiful. Now he missed that tip a little bit. That's going to cost him about a tenth. Set up for this dismount. Now it's similar to his ring dismount and that vault. That double side with a three-quarter twist out. Beautiful landing. That's going to score well.
If he gets an 8-9, they overtake first place, but the Soviet Union has not gone yet. He will do better than 8-9.
Well, he'll certainly do better than an 8-9, but we just have to wait and see. It's going to be a waiting game now to watch the Soviets and see how well they do.
Christy Phillips received a 9.35 for her balance beam routine.
The crowd is stomping their feet for Brian's routine. We'll take a look at this dismount now. It's that double straddle pike side flip with a three-quarter twist out. Beautiful landing.
And we are waiting now for their totals. Christy Phillips, Brian Ginsberg. All they can do now is wait because the Soviet Union team of Irina Baraksanova and Alexei Tikhonki have yet to compete on the Florex and the high bar. Their total is 18.95. And we will be back with the Soviet Union. The battle for first place is still very much in jeopardy. Stay with us here on ESPN. Welcome back to the Hampton Coliseum. Leander Riley along with Peter Vidmar. The USSR is about to compete. Irina Baraksanova is going to compete on the floor exercise event. Her teammate, Tikhonki, will compete on the horizontal bar. The USA total right now is 57.70. The German Democratic total is 56.90. With this team yet to go and first place very much up in the air.
We're going to have to just wait and see now. It's kind of a waiting game, and if the Soviets just hit their routines, and they're going to be on top. Baraksanova has got a very strong routine on the floor exercise. She's a beautiful dancer.
As a team, they need 18.8 to tie, or 18.85 to take over first place. That means each gymnast must receive about a 9.4. 18.9 to win, or 18.85 will do it.
Double back flip. Second hole. Hasn't been a mistake yet in this routine. Look at the dance. Look at the extension. And the expression. Oh, they accentuate every single movement. Getting ready for our next tumbling pass. The round off back handspring. Lay out 1.5 twist step out. Round off back handspring. Lay out double twist.
Irina Baraksanova, 16 years old, 4 feet 7, 75 pounds.
These gymnasts are so small. But the real, I think a real compliment of the gymnast is to say that they look so much bigger out there. And that's really the goal of gymnastics, to make yourself look bigger than life. And she's so elegant, so graceful.
That was a problem there.
That was a little bit of a problem there, trying to go up to a handstand. Probably a minor deduction, though. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Here's the final pass.
And a big side.
Round off back handspring. Double back flip.
Oh, and a fall.
Really
does that open the door?
That does.
Does that open the door?
Oh, I think that really kind of rattled her a little bit. I don't think she expected to do that. She looked a little lazy on that handspring going into that double back flip. It really surprised me.
She didn't seem to have the power going into the run as you take another look.
The handspring looked a little bit off. She does a round off, and I think she's just running out of gas. You mentioned about that little sigh that she gave. I think she's trying to catch her breath. It's a little bit off in the double back flip. Her hands are real wide, and she just doesn't make it around.
Barely. From a safety standpoint, she barely made it around.
That's true.
So that has opened the door for the United States to possibly win this event. The pressure is definitely on Alexei Tikhonki, who is competing on the high bar.
And Alexei knows how to handle the pressure. He's been in these kind of situations before. He needs to get a good score to win the American Cup, and he's got it. This is a great event for him. He admits this is his best event. He wants to finish on a good note.
He received a 9.9, I believe, on this apparatus at the American Cup, so it's certainly within their reach.
Backup rise.
And it's only because of the new rule on 10.
All he needs is a 9.25. Beautiful full pirouette.
The score for Arena was 9.25. He needs more than 9.25.
That's right. Reverse hex. Reverse hex. Immediate changer. Beautiful sequence. That's so difficult.
To tie, he needs the 9.55 to win 9.6.
He'll certainly get it if he lands a dismount. A stuck triple backflip. Beautiful dismount. You can see that as expression. They know they've got it. I don't think he's missed a triple backflip since he's been in the States. He does that so well.
I think he almost thrives on the necessity of the pressure. He needs it. He needed he needed the fact that he had to do well.
They do that so well. They just know how to handle that pressure. Routines are just second nature for him. He just walks up there and does the routine. I asked him earlier, what does he think about before he does his routine? What's he concentrating on? And he just kind of shrugged his shoulder and said, my routine. I don't really know what I think about. He just does it.
Probably about where he's going to hang his next trophy.
That's
trophy
right.
case at home.
What a routine. That was just beautiful.
And perhaps the culmination.
It's amazing. He hardly even warmed up for it either. He never even takes much of a warm-up. The routine is just, it's so easy for him to do, and yet from a difficulty standpoint, it's just loaded with that difficulty.
For any of them, for sure.
And I think by .25, the Soviet Union has won this meet. Unofficially, we have them as receiving a 19.05 for that routine, and my totals show 57.95 for the USSR, 57.70 for the USA, 56.90 for the German Democratic Republic. So the Soviet Unions unofficially are in first place, the USA second, and the German Democratic Republic is third. We will have the official numbers and confirm these statistics after this message from our sponsors. Our standings have been confirmed in the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. The Soviet Union has finished first with a score of 57.95. The USA finished second with a 57.70, with the German Democratic Republic finishing third with a 56.90. Peter Vidmar is standing by with our winners and their interpreter.
That's right, Leander. I'm here with my champions. Irina, my first question is, what happened at the end of your routine? You did a beautiful routine, but you seem to have a little problem on your dismount.
Что же случилось? Все-таки ты прекрасно выступил, но тем не менее у тебя были какие-то проблемы. What do you mean? On which? On floor exercise?
On floor exercise at the very, very end.
Да, в самом конце.
Да, наверное, очень сильно. Я перестаралась. Я хотела сделать
She tried to give her best and she maybe will do it.
That's okay. She'll do fine. I think she was just maybe a little bit tired at the end of that routine. Alexei, after you saw the little mistake and the lower score for Irina, did you feel pressure to do a much better job on horizontal bar?
Когда ты увидел, что Ирина низкие оценки у Ирины, увидел ее ошибки, на тебя это каким-то образом повлияло? Хотел ли ты выполнить это упражнение гораздо лучше?
Я, в принципе, был готов к тому, что может упасть, допустим, Ирина. Поэтому я в любом бы случае сделал хорошо. Если бы не упала, чтобы доставить удовольствие публике. А если упала, то постараться наверстать упущенное.
You know, he concentrates before the competition, and he thinks about everything, and he tries to do the best, and he thinks that he should do the best because he would like the audience, which is gorgeous in your city, to be pleased with him.
Oh, we certainly were pleased. You did a phenomenal job. Congratulations to both of you. Back to you, Leandra.
Congratulations to the Soviet Union team of Irina Baraksanova and Alexei Tikhonki. They finished in first place. Our numbers are confirmed. The Soviet Union with a 57.95 to win it. Irina Baraksanova, 16 years of age. Alexei Tikhonki, 25 years of age. And that means they are going to be around, most likely, in 1988. has been brought to you by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. For Peter Vidmar, I'm Leandra Riley. Congratulations once again to the Soviet Union, the USA, and the German Democratic Republic for finishing 1, 2, 3 in the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs.